Hello everybody, my name is William and welcome back to another Roblox Bee Swarm Simulator video where today I would like to talk about White Hives and revise my White Hive composition. To start us off, I would like to let you all know that you will be needing the Supreme Star Amulet with the two passive abilities, Gummy Star and Star Saw. Yes, I know, even due to the massive nerf on Star Saw, it still is actually really good for White Hives. Now for your amulets, I'd suggest having a bee attack on all of them, or bee attack percentage, because that's even better, but yeah, just on the amulets that you can get attack on, be sure to get attack on those, because those will buff your Star Saw's convert, because the more attack you have, the more your Star Saw converts. Now, talking about equipment, you are going to need the Gummy Mask, as it provides 75% extra goo, and the Gummy Boots, which give you another 25% goo, as you will be making most of your honey from goo as a White Hive. Now, moving on to bees. Let's start with the Gifted Basic Bee. The Gifted Basic Bee gives you times 1.2 extra pollen, which is really useful in every hive, so be sure to have this. Gifted Bomber Bee, I really don't know about this one, but I say you need to keep it because it is an extra gifted colorless bee, and your Gummy Star gets buffed by 1.5% per gifted colorless bee type. Gifted Brave Bee, which is another gifted colorless bee type, and also the 1%, it's just plus 1 bee attack, which will most definitely buff your Star Saw. Bumble and Cool Bee, you will not need. Hasty Bee, you will need, as it is another gifted white bee type and that 20% player move speed. Gifted Looker Bee, you're going to need for that extra 50% critical power. Also, it's another gifted colorless bee type. You do not need a Rad and a Rascal Bee, as those are both red bees. You do need a gifted Stubborn Bee for that 20% token ability lifespan. Also, it is another gifted colorless bee type. You do not need any Bubble Bees or Bucko Bees. You will need a Commander Bee. Every hive needs this, as it is an extra 5% critical chance. Demo Bee. Be sure to keep this because it is another colorless bee type. Gifted colorless bee type. Sorry. They all need to be gifted colorless bee types, because that will most certainly add on to the Gummy Star over time. Not over time, but the more you get, the better. You are going to need a Gifted Exhausted Bee for, yet again, I said this already, I'm sorry I keep saying this like 800 times, but it buffs your Gummy Star by 1.5%. Fire Bee and Frosty Bee you do not need, as they are red and blue bees. Gifted Honey Bee, be sure to keep this for the 1.5 multiplier on honey from tokens. That will definitely buff your Gummy Star, because at the end of Gummy Star, it pops into a bunch of honey tokens and gumdrops. And the multiplier from the Honey Bee does indeed affect the honey tokens from the Gummy Star. You do need a Gifted Rage Bee for the extra bee attack. It will buff your Star Saw yet again. So be sure to keep a Gifted Rage Bee. Riley Bee, you do not need. Shocked Bee, you most certainly should keep this. This is 25% extra white pollen. So be sure to keep a Gifted Shocked Bee. Gifted Basic Bee, this is a Gifted Baby Bee. You should go ahead and keep a Gifted Baby Bee, as it gives you 25% loot luck, and it's also another gifted colorless bee type, and it gives you Baby Love, so it's really useful, because Baby Love gives you 2 times pollen and 50% loot luck. Carpenter Bee, here's one of the really interesting bees that you're going to need in a White Hive. So the Carpenter Bee is an essential bee to a White Hive. I'd say get 4 to 5 Carpenter Bees. Why do you need Carpenter Bees? For the Honey Mark Plus token. You'll be converting a bit more, so that way you have more bag capacity. Well, technically you have more bag capacity, because if you're converting all of your capacity, technically you have extra capacity, Your bag won't fill as much, and you will be getting a ton more honey. So yeah, be sure to get 4 to 5 gifted Carpenter Bees. You do not need a Demon Bee. You do not need a gifted Diamond Bee, as it is only 100% convert rate, which isn't really that much, so yeah, it's rendered useless in a White Hive. Lion Bee, this will buff your Star Saw a lot, as it is 2 colorless bee attack, which will buff your Star Saw by a ton, so be sure to have a gifted Lion Bee. Music Bee, be sure you have 3 Music Bees. Every hive needs about 3 Music Bees, as that Melody, Focus, and Token Link will help you a ton. Those 3 ability tokens are just overall extremely useful for any kind of hive. You only need 1 gifted Ninja Bee for that extra 5% bee move speed. You do not need a Shy Bee. You do need Fuzzy Bees. This is another interesting bee. I'd say for a White Hive, you need about 4 of these, 4 gifted Fuzzy Bees, due to the pollination, like the pollen haze and the fuzzy coat, it pollinates the field, giving you more pollen and more goo because goo is multiplied by the pollen, I think. I'm pretty sure. Be sure to have 4 gifted fuzzy bees. Spicy bee, you do not need... Pause. Sorry. You actually need 1 to 2 spicy bees for the extra attack for the star saw. I forgot about this while recording the video, so sorry about that. Just get 1 to 2 spicy bees. Thank you. You only need 2 gifted tadpole bees for the extra baby love. They need to be gifted. That's the only reason why you have them, because of that baby love ability. Vector bee. Now, this bee, this is the essential. This is the main component of a white hive. Why exactly? Well, it's really simple. The gifted passive ability marks, or well, not passive ability. It's kind of just, it's a mark token ability. It's a little ability token, you know. Yeah, you get the point. But yeah, mark surges, those are extremely good, and I'll explain why. So let's say all your carpenter bees and all your vector bees, they have all their like token links, like not token links, sorry, they're little mark tokens, that's what they're called, and they're all linked together, right? If you stand in them and you activate a ton of mark surges, you're going to get a ton of pollen, because mark surges collect pollen. They're kind of like the white hive's version of gathering bubbles for blue hives. But yeah, also the pollen mark plus is very, very useful, and the triangulate helps a bit too. Now, how many exactly are you going to need of these? You're going to need 9 to 12 gifted vector bees. Yes, gifted. So yeah, white hives are very expensive. They are not only expensive in stingers, but also royal jelly and treats. Well, sunflower seeds. Because they need to be gifted, otherwise you won't be getting as many mark surges. The more gifted vectors, the more mark surges. More mark surges, the more honey. So, yeah. Keep a gifted bear bee for the extra 5% pollen and the bear morphs. You do not need cobalt and crimson bee. They are completely useless, as it's just 10% instant red conversion and 10% instant blue conversion. Festive bee, you should keep this for the festive gift ability, which will give you 100% instant conversion for 15 seconds every single time you get the festive blessing. Or is it festive cheer? Well, it gives you both if it's gifted, but most of the time it's festive blessing. If you don't have it gifted, I'd suggest you gift your festive bee ASAP. Gifted gummy bee. Yes, be sure to have this, because the more goo you get, the more honey you'll be making, because white hives are comprised of mostly goo collection. The gumdrop barrage and the glob is so useful. Also, gummy bee triggers gummy morph much more frequently, so be sure to have a gifted gummy bee. Gifted photon bee, go ahead, keep this, as every hive needs this extra 5% instant conversion, which is really useful. Instant conversion is pretty much just the best stat in the game overall. You do not need a gifted puppy bee, but I'd say keep a gifted puppy bee, as it will not only buff your Gummy Star, but it will also give you 20% bond from treats. So be sure to keep a gifted puppy bee. Gifted tabby bee, keep this, as tabby bee is arguably, I've heard, is actually the best bee in the game due to the tabby love, and also that 50% critical power, and it's a colorless gifted bee, so overall it's a really good bee to have in a gifted white hive, or any hive for that matter. Now, vicious bee. I know a lot of people are like, you should keep your vicious bee, it's so useful. It is very useful, so I'd still say keep it, but you do not need it. Yeah, you don't actually need it. However, it is very useful overall, so be sure to keep a gifted vicious bee. Now, windy bee. Be sure to keep a gifted one of these, because that 15% instant white conversion is going to be insanely useful. Also, the white boost tokens it drops. I didn't even know it did that until like 2 months ago? And this bee's been out for like a year. So yeah, that's about it for white hives, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Do not forget to leave a like and subscribe. Be sure to check out our Team Tadpole merch. I will have links in the description. You can go ahead, buy those. They're both 5 Robux, the shirt and the pants. And yeah, the total set is 10 Robux. So I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye!